who I am. I'm one of the OIDCs for the Red Mountain region. Well, I'm the OIDC for the Red Mountain region. I'm one of the OIDCs for the whole district. We have a few other OIDCs in here, so if you have any questions, please do put those in the chat and we will work on addressing those as we go through the class. Or if you have any that aren't related to our topic today, you can save those for the end and we will work on answering what we can. Today's topic is on interactive content, but I do want to point out, I don't always remember to do this, Kristen's way better at remembering this, is you all do have access to our Canvas cohort. And within that, there's a section called Tools, in which it talks about some of the external tools that are available to you, as well as like SpeedGrader and rubrics that we talked about yesterday. Google, Screencast-O-Matic, OneNote, things like that are all included in here. We aren't going to be talking about any of those today, but I did want you to know that it's there. That's a resource that everyone has available to them through their Canvas accounts. So you can go and access that there. And you can also always contact any of the IDCs. We're happy to help you anytime. That is what we do. And I say anytime because I think we're all the crazy people that are literally answering questions at 9:30 at night. So while I don't encourage that, it is possible if you have an emergency. Okay, so we're going to be going over just 3 different tools today that you can use to embed into Canvas to create some interactive content for your students. So that means they don't have to leave Canvas to use it. So it remains in Canvas. They aren't clicking out to another website and getting lost. I'm only doing 3, partly because yesterday we had another training that talked about LTIs or other tools that are built into Canvas already. And we already talked about embedding videos, which would be a similar kind of interactive content in Canvas. So if you are interested in any of those things, you can go to our recorded sessions on the remote teaching website and access the recordings in there to learn about those things. So I'm just going to be looking at Quizlet, Padlet, and H5P today. So I'm going to start with Quizlet, and I created a module to put these in, and then I created a page for each one of these. You could put these into anywhere that has a rich content editor. You can embed those things into there. So an assignment or discussion or a quiz, you could put any of these things into those places, and then students will be able to interact with them there. So looking at Quizlet right now, it's just a blank page. Perfect. Thank you, Kelly, for sharing those links in the chat. And I'm going to go to Quizlet. So I'm already signed into Quizlet, and I'm at one of my sets that I had made for my students when we were talking about color in photography. And we have all these options, but what you're looking for when you want to embed something into Canvas is the embed code. And in most websites, it's all like labeled the same or at least found in a similar location. So generally you look for something called share or embed or things like that, then that'll be where the code is. So Quizlet though is weird. So here we have Quizlet's share options right here. If you click on that, you see you can get a link, you can email it to somebody, put it in Google Classroom or Reminds, but you don't get an embed code in here. That's because they moved it. It's actually over in this 3-dot more menu. So if I go over there, I'm just hovering my mouse over it and the menu flies out there. And you can go to embed, Quizlet and quizzes. So Quizlet is like flashcards that students can use. So if I click on this, it's like having those note cards. And then you can also do like different activities with them. So you can start with answering questions. You can do where they have to type out the answer or spell, and they can choose any one of these. I'll show you what that looks like. Quizzes are quizzes. So there's quizzes with an S in Canvas. That's just a quiz, or like you create your questions in there. Quizzes is more like Kahoot, like Kristen said, yeah. So Quizlet is more of a study tool. So there isn't going to be a grade associated with it necessarily. And there's games down here that they can play. And when you're back into your classroom, Quizlet Live is a lot of fun for kids. Similar to Kahoot, but different. You'd have to play with it. Okay, so I'm looking under this menu over here, and you'll see that it has the embed option down there. Most anywhere, if you find embed available on the website, you can put it into Canvas. So I'm going to select this. I don't think that the district has a subscription to Quizlet, but I did use my referral code 1 year and sent it out to everybody. And so I built up like 3.5 years of free Quizlet just because everyone was using my referral code. It was great. But yeah, you don't really need the subscription for it. Okay, so I selected embed from that menu, and up comes embed study modes. So you have a choice of what you want to have displayed in Canvas. However, I'll show you this, even if you decide to have like flashcards up, and here's the iframe for it, or the embed code, students still have the option to switch to a different study mode, and I'll show you that too. So I'm gonna embed flashcards, I decided. That's what I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna select this code that it gives me. I'm gonna say copy. So I copied the embed code from Quizlet. I'm gonna go back to my Canvas. I wanna edit the page. And, oh, Kristen, I wonder if this other, let's see if this works. I'm gonna put some embed code in here. Oh, look at that. That's so interesting. Okay, so I was able to use upload or record media options and select embed, and I can paste the code in there, which is much more user-friendly than going into the raw HTML editor. So there's some options. Okay, but you'll notice this is kind of a strange shape. So I am actually going to go in and I'm going to show you some things about the code in HTML. So here is the code that I got. And if you look in here, anytime you look at code, and this is a little advanced, so ignore me if you don't care what shape it is. But, and that's even more interesting that the width is set to 100%. Okay, so that's the width of the frame and the height of the frame, and you can adjust those. So I wonder if that's reading. That's very strange. Yeah, but it should manipulate. So if it's set to 100%, it goes to 100% of the width of the screen. So it doesn't matter what size the screen is, it adjusts because it's based on a percent. Yeah, let's save it. You're right, Kristen. Let's see what it does. I don't think I've ever had to do this before. So if you want the size of something to adjust based on the size of the screen, you can use a percent instead of a specific pixel value. It doesn't want to tell us. It is because I'm live showing it. Yeah, so you can put, instead of putting like 120 pixels wide, you can say you want it, so 100% of the width of the screen would go as wide as it can go. And then 50% of the width of the screen would just do 50%. And look, this is being obnoxious now. Oh, it's still loading. Aha, it did once you saved it. Nope. It would, nope, it just changes the literally the height. So this is cool. So here, I'll show you what that means more about the 100%. So I'm going to take the window and I'm going to move it and see how Quizlet adjusts its width based on how big my browser window is. So it is making itself smaller, and then it shifts the box. Oh, like it adds that back in. So that's why you would use a percent over a finite pixel amount. Okay, well, let's look at what this looks like when you embed Quizlet in here. So I had chosen flashcards as what I wanted to pop up here. you could choose any of the other options that it has in here, and it would just change what the default is when it first displays for the students. But notice down here in the bottom right corner, it says choose a study mode. I can click on that and change it to one of the other study guides if I wanted to. And so now I'm like trying to add things. These are not right. I'm not even reading it. Here, I'll get this one right for you. And then they disappear. So I can study these things. Yeah, you can embed it anywhere you want to, Amy. But so what Quizlet will not do is it will not report whether a student completed something or not. So you can embed it into Canvas, and you can set up classes in Quizlet if you want to. But if you're just providing it as a study tool, and you have it embedded in Canvas, then it's not going to send anything. Okay, be quiet. I'll switch it back to flashcards. So they have all of these options right into Canvas, and they don't have to go anywhere to get to this. So they can just, you keep reading this, turn off. Okay, that was Quizlet. So as a quick review, I went to my Quizlet in Quizlet, and I go to my study set that I want to use. And you've got the 3 dots to get some more options for the study set. I go down to embed, and I want to choose which study mode I want it to display first. And I copy that HTML code. And then I went into here, and you can either put it into the HTML editor, or we just tried out upload or record media. Have it in the embed option, and I would paste it in there, and then it shows up in here. And we just looked at using percents instead of pixels, which is fun. It's definitely more user-friendly, so you don't have things going off the screen to have it be percent of the width of the screen rather than a finite value. Okay, so that was Quizlet. Now let's look at the next thing. We're going to look at Padlet. So this is a Padlet that I used with my staff earlier this year. So I signed into my Padlet account. I go to the Padlet that I want to share. It could be a blank, brand new one, doesn't matter. I just use this because it already existed. And then in this case, like I said, normally happens, like in YouTube, you're looking for that share button. And then under share, you'll find embed. So see these little icons, this icon? I'm going to click on that, and I can get my my embed code in here. So I can copy this code and then put it in a Canvas, and then it takes this and puts it in there. So if you don't know what, I'm sure I will, Amy, or Mary, one second. Benefit of Padlet. So Padlet is like a bulletin board-ish kind of thing online where students can, here, let me close out of this. Students come and make posts, and you can arrange it in lots of different ways. So you can have columns like the way it's set up right now. You could just have free floating things. You can have all kinds of stuff, but it's like sticking sticky notes up onto the board. They can put videos on there. They can put pictures on there. I've used it with my photo students so they can see each other's work and then go comment on it. So they all post their work on there and they go back and comment. You can use it to curate information. I'm not sure if you can sort it by likes, but you can turn on the like setting. So students can go in and like the whichever ones for whatever directions you give them. There's a lot of options in Padlet that I wouldn't have the time to go over right now, but scroll down like this and you can move them around and do all kinds of things. So Padlet's pretty cool. They had a rough start to remote teaching. Their website was crashing every 5 minutes, but I'm pretty sure they've adjusted since then. Interactive means they can click on it and move things around and add stuff. So here I'll show you. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get my embed code from under share and copy this code. I'm using a div. I'm going to go back to Canvas, and then I'll show you what it means by interactive. Let's use our media embed again. Paste, submit, And here it is. So as long as you have your share settings so that, so that students can interact with it and see it. So if you lock it down so no one can get to it, they won't be able to. Within Canvas, where I am right now, I can click on the add button. I can add my new paste or my new post on here. Let me save this. I can scroll down through. Notice it's not Canvas scrolling. It's the window within this page. I can add another post or edit it. So see how I can move this around, or I can change the text in there. Sharing is, it's in the settings for the Padlet. Yeah, so they can add all that stuff right into Canvas. It's great for curating content. It's great for students to collect information and work collaboratively with collecting that information and putting it all into a common place, sharing student work, responding to prompts where you want them to be able to see each other's stuff, but also use video or pictures, things like that. So you can use this down here to add things, or students can as well. And you can decorate your board however you want. I did red bricks because it's Red Mountain High. If you've ever been there, it's basically bricks. So that's why I put that in there, but there's a lot of different options. So like you can put a different logo up here, you can change the title, you can do all kinds of things with this. But I don't think it'd be possible to go over all the options right now, but it's definitely user friendly in that you should be able to just click through, and they have a lot of tutorials on their website as well. If that's something you guys are interested in, we could have more focused trainings in the future. But it's a lot of fun. I use it not all the time because kids get tired of things when you use them all the time. Okay, so that was Quizlet. We put Padlet in, and now let's look at another website that people are not familiar with, called H5P. So H5P specializes in interactive question or scenarios. There is a paid version. We don't have it. I doubt we'll buy it. That would give you the tools where it reports back their grades or their interactions with it, but we don't have that. But you can use their questions for students just to be able to study on their own. So you give them the opportunity to practice. There's no grading on Padlet now, because it's not like an assignment or questions. They're just posting things. So the only thing it would be able to grade is like, yes, someone made a post, but I don't think they would develop that. Okay, so H5P creates interactive content with a whole wide variety of content types. So crazy questions. So I'm in examples and downloads. So if you go to h5p.org, it's examples and downloads, and you can scroll down to see all the different question types they have available to you. Now remember, it will not save content. It will not report back whether students are doing things. It won't give you scores, but students can use it for practice on their own. So all of these options are super cool, but they will not report a grade back. It's really just for students on their own to practice should they choose to. Or you could have them take screenshots of things if you wanted them to screenshot the results and then turn that into an assignment. That would work too. So I'm going to go to any one of these because they all have sample questions. So like find multiple hotspots. So if I click on that, so it's got a picture, and the idea is that they have to find all the vegetables in this picture. So they would click on it. Yep, that one's right. I found one of 2 vegetables. There's another one. I found 2 of 2 vegetables. So I've got that done. They could take a screenshot and turn it in if you wanted to. Now, you can make your own question like this with your own picture, and you put your hotspots in there. And then if you look at the very bottom, there is your embed code. So after you make a question, and this is just a sample question, we're going to use it so I can show you. I'm selecting embed, and look, here's our size. We could go advanced if we wanted to, but we're not going to. And I'm going to select this code, whoops, not paste, Copy that and go back to Canvas. We can see what it looks like when we put it over here. Okay, we'll go back into here again because this seems like a good way to do things. And there we go. So there's our question embedded right in here. Now, Mary had asked earlier how to go back in and change the pixels to percents. So I'm on my page, I'm in edit mode, and if you look down in the bottom right corner, you can access the HTML editor. So this right here, click on that, it toggles you into the HTML editor, and I can see the raw code. This is the directions that Canvas is getting the browser for what to display. And I can change the width or height to be whatever I want it to be. Now, some places, some things that you're embedding in here aren't going to adjust necessarily. So I'm going to put in the width at 100%, and then I'm just going to delete the height because I don't need that. And it'll just decide what the height should be. Scroll down. Save that. And let's see what it does with that. Amy, I don't know what the limited message is. Okay, so that didn't work out. So it's kind of trial and error. It did do the 100% width, but the picture was a certain size. So you just play with these things. Let's change that again. And I'll put height back. I don't remember what the original size was, but that's what 300 pixels tall looks like. So then the students can still click in. There we go. Check. I have already found this one. No, you're right. I did already found them. Okay, so that puts that in there. I would want to adjust the height again so the students wouldn't be scrolling around. But in here, so that was just a sample question, but you can create your own questions and then embed them. Just know that it's not going to give you anything back. So like I could do an interactive video. We've got true false questions, timelines where they're dragging things around, more hotspot options. Image juxtaposition is pretty cool, where you can create that. There's actually another one. Oh, I should have done that one. There's another website that does some pretty cool things. Go. Oh, a word search. Okay, I think I know what you're saying, Amy. I'll show you if I ever get into this question. Image pairing, so like matching games. iframe embedder might be useful. You don't have to know that code. And we're thinking about the internet right now. This is the story of my life. There we go. Okay, so this is where you have two images overlaying one another, and you can drag the slider back and forth. And you can make this with your own pictures and then get the embed code from that and embed it. So here you would say get started, and you can make one. You're welcome, Kelly. Isn't this cool? I think we should pay for it. Okay, so the embed code is going to end up right underneath here. I'm going to click embed, and this will bring us to what there we go. So h5p.org is only for trying it out. The embed option will be limited. Don't use it to host real content. Yep. So that's what I said. It's not real, we don't pay for it. Okay, so I'm going to copy that code. I can bring it back into here. So that's like any free resource you're looking at right now, because like every company in the world has free resources right now because they want to convince us to start using it in anticipation of the potential of next year. Whoops. us still being online in some capacity, because the likelihood is that we'll have some part of our instruction still occurring online. So they're trying to get everybody to get on their services so that in the future we eventually pay for it. So any free resource, be careful with how much content you create around that resource, because it might not be there or available to you in the future, or you would have to pay for it yourself. Because I don't think funding is looking that great in Arizona either. So we're losing all of our tax money. Okay, so that's all I was going to share with you today, but no, anywhere on the internet, if you can find an embed code for a resource, you can put it in to Canvas using what I just showed you. So these were just 3 examples. Quizlet does have like an LTI that interacts with Canvas, but it's been glitchy lately. I only wanted to try one new one. It depends on what content I taught. So if I was vocabulary heavy, then I would start with Quizlet. So if students are learning new vocabulary and need to practice that, or like world languages would use Quizlet a lot. If I was more like an English or social studies or science class and I wasn't worried about vocabulary so much, I would use Padlet for them to start curating content around the internet. This is a tremendous opportunity to have students learning how to locate resources on their own and evaluate those resources and then share them with one another. Science students still use Quizlet? Yeah. So Kristen's a science teacher. She can be our genius.
There's some cool there's other cool stuff in Quizlet, like hotspot pictures and other things. So for like identifying parts of like diagrams. So, and Quizlets you can share with other teachers too. So a lot of us collaborate and make shared folders that we then can assign out to our students. It's pretty awesome. So.
Yeah, I thought it was worth paying the $24. I did that too. And I teach thought I was, so it made sense. But then I figured out how to get the free like 3 months or whatever if I shared my code with other people. That was that was worth my efforts. So if you guys do consider, they charge you to add pictures to the card. Yeah, beyond the pictures that they have built into their system. So like, hold on.
For like the hotspots ones though, there's already a lot of stuff and you get a limited number of spots you can add, but there's still a lot you can do for free.
There's a lot in there. And usually I can find what I want, but like what Kelly was saying, if you wanted to use a math, like equations and stuff, you want to put those in there, that's not necessarily there exactly what you want. So that would be I guess it depends on how much control you want over the pictures. So, but you do have there are set number of pictures that you can choose from if they work.
And Quizlet Live is a lot of fun. I think it's way better than Kahoot. So
I agree. Quizlet Live's way better.
And there's ways for them to do it remotely right now too. So
did they figure out how to do that?
Yeah, there's a few different options. I think they have like an individual version where basically you're not on teams, so you still play at the same time. And then I think I just saw there's like a student challenge one where students can challenge each other to Quizlet Lives or something like that. So
nice. Kahoot has the individual student options as well, which I did during the school year, and they could go back at any time and try to beat their previous score and beat the scores of their classmates. So that was cool too. Okay, so I think we have the form is already in the chat. So scroll up in there if you didn't get to that and fill that out so you can get credit for being here, give us any feedback. And then we have lots of other resources posted in there. Thanks, Kristen. So we've got past videos, we have links for the other trainings that are coming up next week. And there's the form again. So for PD credit, you can fill it out. Please be patient. Sometimes the certificate won't show up right away. You're welcome, Carmen. It's good to learn new things, Kelly. H5P is new for everybody, except for people that have asked for specific things, and I refer them to that. So, okay, thanks, guys. You guys have a good weekend. Go and don't work. It's way too easy to work when work is at home with you. Have a nice weekend. Bye.